Hi, I'm Josh with the SketchUp team, and we're back in Truckee, California with Nick Sonder today. And many of you may know Nick through some of his excellent SketchUp and layout work that we showcased in previous videos. Today we wanted to explore a little bit more, take a step back into the early design phase and see how that works with Nick and his clients.
Yes, one of the things that I don't typically go over in those presentations as well as the videos on YouTube is where a project really starts. And it's actually a very in-depth process where my main goal is to gather as much information as I possibly can. Back in the day, we used to ask clients to keep a 3-ring binder, and they'd do magazine clippings, photographs, but that was kind of a resource that I wouldn't actually have availability to on a daily basis. It was something I could only see when we would meet here in my office. Thankfully, the web has created so many opportunities to gather more information, and one wonderful site that I've used since 2009 is Houzz, and that's houzz.com. And basically it replaces that 3-ring binder. It gives clients as well as architects and designers a large resource of imagery that is solely focused on custom home design and remodel. And in my first meeting with the client, a lot of times that meeting is actually before I even have a contract. And one of the things that I discuss with a client is opening up a Houzz account so they can create their idea books. And these idea books, they can load up as many images as they can possibly find related to their project. And I ask each of my clients to create those idea books similar to how Houzz actually has these top tabs structured, where they keep idea books based upon the space. That way I'm not looking through a single idea book for an entire home, but while I'm concentrated on a particular aspect of the home, they can really focus on that aspect and give me all the information they need. As an example, I will show you how you can access just about anything you want. The example I've been using is a linear light, which is kind of an obscure item because it can fall into anything. And then you can go down and you can actually select what you want to choose from. Do you want to see photos as an example? And you can see how many come up, 12,435 lights or photos of linear lighting. And then you can further refine those. You could choose dining room, and you can see that these will then narrow the results. You can choose by budget. You know, we're going to go for big bucks here and see what's available. 47, then you can do by size and, you know, furthermore refine these to something that you really want to see. Then the client would actually reserve these by saving these into an idea book where you can hit the plus sign, or you can email it, which is nice. I'll show an example of a very organized client, but she has a wonderful set of idea books, and they're all set up based upon the spaces, just like I asked her to do. She did a great job. So if we go into kitchen as an example, it starts to tell me a little bit of a story as to what she's looking for in the space. One thing you can see, you know, a lot of my homes are pretty rustic designs with a lot of wood, not just trim, but cabinetry. But you can see in here, she is definitely keying towards a much lighter kitchen style. So my initial concepts when I start to create the interior of the home will actually focus on having a lighter material on the kitchen. You can also see some of the timber details she's keying into, liking the concept of having a truss. And so I will go ahead and I'll translate that actually into her project, which is this project right here. And this is in the beginning of design development. But you can actually see I've already keyed in the great room will have those flat bottom cord trusses that she really liked in some of those images. The cabinets in the kitchen have not been developed yet, but they're already showing a light tone so that I know what I'm going to start with. You can actually see these back into the back part of the kitchen. So those elements that they keep in the idea book are specific elements that I then incorporate back into the project. So I try to tie the two together so it makes a lot of sense on where that information is coming from and how that translates into a 3D model. And the projects really flow well both between the client, myself, as well as an interior designer if they're involved as to what the end result is going to be. And so we will actually go through and have discussions online specifically about these individual spaces and about individual cabinet ideas, down to things like this with the corner cabinet instead of a Lazy Susan, the concept of having a knife drawer immediately adjacent to the oven. We'll talk about these outdoor spaces. And sometimes I'll even look at, if I have that information, if I'm looking for something on here, what's great with Houzz is I can see who the architect was. A lot of times if I don't know what it is, the client doesn't have to call them. I can actually make an inquiry myself to that architect as to what that particular fixture or what this heating element is and how it worked out, and get feedback directly from the designer before we make our final decisions. So it's a process that really helps give focus to the early stages of design. I usually have a client get this information all together during our schematic process, which really helps them visualize and identify those items that they need to select in the later phases.
So I'm curious, Nick, after a house is built, do you still keep in contact with the clients?
I do. I often will look to them for potentially giving me a reference letter, as we used to do in the past. One of the things that I do keep up on Houzz right now actually is my professional profile. This is actually what a client would see if they were searching architects on Houzz, because on Houzz you can also, in addition to products, you can research professionals, contractors. A lot of us all have sites on there now because it is such a great resource. In fact, right now it is my only form of marketing that I do. In fact, a lot of times I used to just refer people to my website, and now a lot of times I will refer them to my Houzz profile because my website is connected directly there, and for better or worse, I've kept my Houzz profile more up to date than my website.
All right, thanks a lot, Nick. It was good to get insight into your workflow. If viewers are curious for more, where should they go to find out more, or if you have any upcoming projects you're working on?
Great. Yeah, obviously houzz.com. They can search my profile by name. You can also go to my website, which is www.nicksonder.com. The other item that I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, we are in the process of writing a book, Matt Donnelly and myself. And we are a little behind, but we are expecting to have the book released fairly soon. If you're interested, you can sign up at sketchupbook.com. There's a subscribe information on site. You can put your email and you can get an update on the book. It'll be a very interesting book detailing a lot of my process, including, I do mention Houzz in the book as well, as to how I use that to gather my information for my clients. It'll contain my process from start to finish to a completed project. We will include several pieces of information, such as a full completed model, as well as templates for both SketchUp and layout, so you can see how this process works.
All right, thanks again, Nick. We're looking forward to seeing some of your presentations at 3D Basecamp in June.
Great, look forward to it.